start.
Good afternoon to the IIU team. Good afternoon to participants. And good afternoon to respected persons and high-profile persons in this wonderful session. It is afternoon here in Nigeria. I would be discussing the building effective team for goal attainment. But before I proceed, I would like to give a quick introduction about myself. I am Caleb TIMILEHIN Samuel from Nigeria. I am a diplomat, a social and environmental justice advocate with a focus on climate change and waste management. And also, I am an international trainer and an international speaker. Thank you very much to the IIU team for giving me that opportunity to be able to share my knowledge on this subject matter, and as well to be able to contribute my quota of knowledge to the development of this world that we truly admire, that we truly want. So we shall begin on team building an effective team for goal attainment. It is also very, very important for us that so many problems today are all over the world, and definitely we need to reach some specific goal, particularly that has to do with solving those problems. So we need to come about approaches, strategies where we can use to combat all these problems. And one of the strategy to be able to achieve this, to be able to attain this, is team building. And of course, we cannot tackle problems individually. Of course, some problems are complex, and it needs two or more brains, two or more persons from different views, from different perspectives, to be able to solve this problem. This is not alone tailored towards a societal perspective. We can also look at it from the organizational perspective, where organization need to make profit, where organization need to attain effectiveness, their effectiveness, and then to be able to sell their product. So this is particularly in different dimensions where you can use this team building approach. So on the table of introduction, we shall be looking at the introductory part, the definition and conception, the team building versus laboratory training, assumptions of team building. These are thoughts about team building and how effective this strategy is going to be. Then the purposes of team building, but within it, we shall be looking at the models of team building, the team building process. And of course, when you are trying to manage persons or when you are coming together as a team, it has a lot of processes and its principles and techniques if you want to be able to use this tool to attain results. And then we shall look at the prerequisites to a successful team building program and the utility of team building. And finally, we shall be looking at the concluding aspect of team building. So at the end of this lesson, you would have been able to understand in your own experience, in your own perspective, what team building entails, and the purposes, as well the assumptions and the knowledge aspect of team building, and also the concept. What really is the concept of team building and how you can be able to apply this strategy to combat problems both on the societal level and as well as the organizational level. So, so many changes are happening today in the world. There's advancement in technology, and as well, the society is changing. And so, one of these challenges that is facing organizations today is the ability to adapt to this change. Most organizations are not adapting the way they should adapt. And when you are not moving with the current trend of time, there's a possibility that you'll be left behind, and there's a possibility that you not be able to make some tangible relevance, in the on the global scale. So there is this need now to make sure that we train every member. It could be in the organizational perspective. It is very important that you need to train your workers or members of a group to be able to achieve results or make profit. So many of these there's many of technological complexities, that that is very difficult for us at this moment to be able to solve. And so there have been some areas of strategies to be able to combat that. So we can look at the job entitlement strategy, to ensure greater team effort and to ensure effective group communication and cohesion, particularly in the general scale. Organization effectiveness, you can look at the job rotation aspect, the social technological system, participative management, autonomous work group, and team building, which is the subject matter today. So today we will be looking particularly on team building, so which is a major concern for us today, and which is one of the best approach to solving world problems. So we shall look at the definition and the conceptualization of a team building. We must also put at the back of our mind that team building is a long process. Definitely is a long process. To be able to make long-lasting solution, to be able to derive best approaches to problems, you need to take the time to be able to use this and understand the strategy effectively. So it is a long-term database in intervention in which intact work group experientially learn. It is a process that you need to learn by examining their structures, purposes, the norms, values, and interpersonal dynamics to be able to increase the skill for effective teamwork. So there are many aspects where we all need to learn to be able to use this team building approach effectively. We need to examine the structures. Definitely, how can you use the team building strategy without really studying the structures and the purposes, the norms and values, and the interpersonal dynamics of every organization? Of course, you'll not be able to achieve the result that you want if you are not studying these tools that I just mentioned now. So it is very important that we need to put that into consideration. So it is a very versatile intervention that particularly can be used to establish a new team. Team building, you can use it to establish new team. You can use it to strengthen an existing team. You can use it to reform a team after a reorganization, to improve interfaces and among several teams. That is to show the versatility of a team building approach to solving problems. So when we talk about processes of change, I said earlier that the world is changing. And definitely when you are not constantly learning, when you are not constantly relearning, there's that possibility that you will be left behind, and you discover that when you try to put in the approaches that you have carefully crafted out, you discover that you will not be able to use it well. So we need to look at these three aspects of change, these processes of change that we are talking about. We need to look at the unfreezing aspect. We need to look at the changing and the refreezing aspect. Let me give us an illustration. Let us say, for example, you want to fry a fish. Definitely you go to the market, the frozen store, supermarket, to fry the fish. But particularly you want to fry that fish next tomorrow. So the first thing you need to do when you get that fish, when you purchase that fish in the supermarket, you take it home and put it in your freezer, right? So that it won't get spots, right? So that it can be able to be preserved till you are able to fry it next tomorrow, which it's on Sunday. So let us assume you are at home on that Sunday and you want to begin to fry that fish. What are you going to do first to that fridge? To that fish. The person is to bring it out of that fridge. You wait for it to defroze. You will unfreeze that 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 fish. That is what is called unfreezing. It's a process to making it a fried fish. So in the process of bringing it out of the fridge and waiting for it to unfreeze, you are changing it. It is undergoing change to to make sure that that frying can have an effect on that fish to be able to turn to a fried fish. So during that process of frying it in the pan or maybe in the pot is undergoing its transition process or its changing process. And by the time you are done frying, then it gets to the original state that you want it to be, which is also the fried fish. So it is a changing process. So it is a mechanism that we need to be able to use effectively to get the result that that we want. So it is an all-round process. So this is particularly targeted and tailored towards the human resource aspect of every organization. Human resource, these are people that deal with team management or managing persons or managing group of persons or groups or group members to be able to deliver fantastic productivity. So yes, we shall be looking at the team building versus laboratory training. There are two different aspects. So you might be engaging in laboratory training and you think that you are engaging in team building. It won't actually work so well. So there are two big differences between them, two or more differences between them, of which I have to outline just a few. So when we talk about team building, it stresses on group performance, definitely. It is not about an individual performance, even when it is going to equip that person individually, even when it's going to equip, but the most important thing is for group performance. So on a laboratory aspect, it stresses on self-awareness and interpersonal sensitivity. This has to do with that interpersonal development particularly. So within an organization, that will not be effective when the individual is developing personally and the organization is not developing personally, then it won't come about, or maybe the group personally, it will not come about the productivity of that group. And on the team building aspect, it consists of members of intact, naturally occurring work group. And on the laboratory aspect, generally strangers. These are strangers that have not been able to communicate amongst themselves effectively, where there is no cohesion. There's no cohesion there. There's no commitment towards a particular goal. So this is the beauty of team building. It strengthens cohesion towards a particular goal. It strengthens commitment. It promotes value, not just for that organization. I mean, organization as an institution, but now for a group. So it utilizes planned agenda of group techniques and exercises to solve work-related problems, while under laboratory training, absence of pre-planned agenda as a result of lack of structure. Team building does not have structure. Since it is basically inhabited by strangers, they lack structure, they lack culture, they lack mode of operation. So this is what team building is trying to strengthen. So team building is a continuous process, while laboratory training is a one-shot process. And as soon as the goal is achieved in laboratory training, everybody departs since they are strangers. Team building, under team building, it's a follow-up team building sessions are usually conducted to assess team's progress. This is basically for a team, and also under laboratory training, since it is a one-shot process, sessions are not usually conducted. Yes, if you want to adapt to this change, if you want to change according to the trend of time, you must be able to conduct sessions, constant sessions, to be able to adapt. So that's what team building is looking forward to bring. And also they are usually database incorporating information from interviews and or surveys conducted before the off-site session. Yes, the beauty of team building is that it has databases, and which is not available in the laboratory training. So these are the major differences between them. So now we'll look at the assumptions of team building. We shall be looking at it from this perspective, according to French and Bell, 1978. Team building basically can be classified into three major areas of individual, that person, the group members, of course, that group members makes up of each individuals coming together, and also the members of the organization. Of course, groups, we definitely groups that has cohesion and commitment, we definitely make up a larger organization and larger people within it, individuals. So we shall be looking at the purpose of team building. So we shall be looking at it, and within it, we shall be looking at the model of team building. Team often operate functionally and dysfunctionally. And it is also very important for us that while they operate functionally and dysfunctionally, for those ones that are operating dysfunctionally, it is team building is a strategy that is being implemented to be able to come about the best strategies to be able to solve that problem, you know, to the team that has been able to operate dysfunctionally. So it is a very, very big intervention that works a lot. So it is also about work group and how to examine their behaviors and course of action that will improve their group effectiveness. So it is to constantly make them examine their behavior so that it will not affect the group performance and on a larger scale so that it will not affect the group organization. So we shall be looking at the group goal setting model, the interpersonal model, the role model, the managerial group model of the aspect. So when we look at the goal model, when we look at the goal model, sorry. Um, 1 minute, please.
Can you put a full screen, Caleb?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So when we look at the goal setting model, this is particularly towards every team being being led by the team lead towards achieving specific goal. But you know, to be able to achieve this, it needs to make them cohesive. You need to imbibe unity. The person who is a team leader need to make sure they are committed towards a goal. This is when they can be productive, and this is when their performance can speak so well. It is when the group is productive, that is when they can be able to say they've achieved a gigantic result, and that is when there can be group effectiveness that will drive change within that organization. So when we talk about the interpersonal model, the interpersonal model is simply trying to talk about, since group consists of individuals, so that interpersonal skill is needed to be imbibed. That interpersonal approach is needed to be able to enable to the individuals to learn the skill for organizational effectiveness. So the role model aspect of that is particularly towards when every team does not have a defined role. So it creates some aspect of competition. And when there's a competition in a team, the goal will be threatened. The goal will not be achieved in due time. So when we look at the managerial grid model, it is about being able to manage this team using the managerial approach, using the managerial skill to be able to drive this change. So change is constant in every society, and it is also very, very important that one move according to this change to be able to learn and imbibe new values and cultures within the organization. So this team building process, this process, since we say team building is a process and it's a long-term process, particularly, it demands some level of approaches to be able to make sure that you are able to use it well. So when we look at the scouting process, so this scouting process is particularly towards at the point of agreement between the client and of that organization, particularly themselves, and the entry process, it is when the agreement has been met and the point where the client has been able to be acknowledged by that organization to make sure that it begins its role as a consultant. So when we go further into this class, we'll be able to look at it from this aspect that even a team builder can be a consultant, a process consultant, and particularly a trainer among every other aspect at the end towards the end of this lesson. So when it comes to data collection, of course, since it's a team building approach, we need to collect data. You know, we need to work on this data. We need to make sure that we work on this data. And, you know, when we work on this data, this will enable us to be able to get feedbacks on this data. And particularly, it is when we are able to conduct our assessment on this data, we'll get the feedback, we'll analyze effectively this data after this data have been collected. Then at the stage of diagnosis, this stage of diagnosis is when you conduct every test on this data. And when you've conducted your test, the action planning aspect is when you begin to craft out solutions to these problems. At the point of diagnosis, you diagnose, you think about the approaches to use, you've derived your solution, then the action planning is when you want to start implementing, it is when you want to start using this action, these solutions to those problems. Then at the action implementation stage is when you are implementing these solutions to those problems, and so that you can come about the change that you want. So the last stage of it, which is the evaluation aspect, is when we begin to evaluate, okay, as this approach has been able to come about this change that you want, you come about it. And we must be able to understand that team building process is very, very expensive. Since the long-term process is very expensive. So any organization who is going to use the team building approach or process need to look at the cost benefit analysis of this process, because when you just jump into it without thinking about the cost and the finances that is going to cost you, then you not have a job well done. So we need to look at the roles of consultants in this aspect. We need to look at the roles. Every team builder or the human resource manager can well be called a consultant. Yes, because to be able to lead a team towards a goal is not an easy task. One of the major things to be able to do today is to manage persons. Humans are very, very complex, and when you don't manage them effectively, when you don't manage them towards the goal of the organization, then the organization will not be improved, and the organization will not be effective. So a consultant is also a facilitator in this regard. It is not about positioning yourself as a boss in an organization. No, it is about facilitating sessions. It is all about engaging your group members towards a goal. So this particularly can make a consultant be seen as a leader in an organization or maybe in a group. So to be able to effect that change as a leader, you must first be able to lead yourself. You must have gotten so many knowledge about what you are trying to change, about the impact you are willing to make. So, and the consultant role also can be seen as a data gatherer. Of course, you must be able to gather data. If you are coming about solutions, if you want to identify problem or solve problem, the first thing you need to do is to identify that problem. First thing is to identify the problem. When you identify the problem, then you'll be able to gather data around that problem. Then you analyze that data. Then when you analyze that data, then you'll be able to what? To come about, you brainstorm or you diagnose on the solution. Then before you can proceed on the later stage of the process. So, and also a consultant role can be seen as a process consultant. Yes, a consultant can also be seen as a process consultant in this regard. Team building is a process. It's not a one-off strategy. And also, you need to understand the aspect of process. There's one thing called the process management. You need to be able to manage processes to be able to come about this change. Of course, for you to be able to manage this change, you must understand the techniques and the principles behind process. So it is a very good approach as a consultant. So a consultant also is a change agent. Since a consultant is a change agent, a consultant is a leader who is willing to solve problems, a leader who is willing to lead a team towards an organizational goal, or maybe it could be particularly a societal goal. So it's a change agent. You want a new system. You want a new system of process. So definitely you are trying to drop the old process and imbibe the new culture. So you are changing from that old process, you are transitioning from that old process into a new process, which is also very important as the role of a consultant. Is a resource person. Yes, a consultant role is a resource person. Resource person is a kind of a person that deals with the human aspect, the human capital development of an individual. When there's a problem in an organization to an individual, this person will call on that individual and maybe give an advice, run his or her analysis and identify the problem, talk to the individual. You know, when there is no cohesion, when the mind of a group is not, of the individual is not tailored towards the goal of that organization, then the organization will not be productive at all. So the consultant is also a trainer. Of course, a trainer who is going to solve problems should be knowledgeable. So when you are not knowledgeable, when you are not current with what the current time demands, then you are not, you won't be able to use a team building effective approach. So what are the prerequisites to a successful team building program? And of course, since team building is a strategy, then you must implement a program. And definitely for you to be able to implement this program, so you must be able to have some things in place to be able to make sure that this approach works effectively for this team. So the nature of the work must require close and frequent coordinated interaction among the members of the group. This is where we need to talk about the cohesion aspect of every team. Every team needs to come in unison. Every team, you need to collaborate. It is not about competition at this point in time. It is about collaboration. It is about interactive engagement between the team lead and the team members. It is not about being bossy. No, it is all about being a leader to be able to see it. Ensure a leader needs to ensure to create an atmosphere, an environment of interaction, of collaboration towards a goal. And formal data collection should be an integral part of this program. If you want to use this team effectively, this team building strategy effectively, you must be able to collect data as the role of a consultant, data gatherer, or data collector. So there must be all party involvement, particularly towards the among the company management and the team leader and the members of the team of what team building entails. They must first be schooled, they must first be educated, be trained about the organization goal and how they can be able to use it and implement it effectively. And also there must be a long-term commitment from all parties in order to effect lasting improvement. There must be commitment. Any team without commitment will not get anywhere. It will only build competition. It will only build no goal. It will build unproductivity in the end. So there must be active support of the upper management. In the organization, there are hierarchies. And also, when the upper management is not supporting the team building process or the team building program, definitely it's not going to head anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. So the leader of a team or group must be supportive and committed towards the team building effort. So what we've been talking about since the number 3 aspect of this prerequisite has been majorly on commitment. It has been majorly on cohesion. It has been majorly on unison of every individual. So that is when it can work effectively. So there must be a foundation on ground. There must be something that you need to put in place to be able to make sure that things work well. It is just like you trying to build a house and you don't want to enable a foundation. No, definitely, if you want to build a house that has a very fine design, that has a very unique and design, so that when people who are passing by, you see them, they'll be marveled that wow, this is a fantastic job done by both the builder, the architect, and a lot of people that engage in the process, is to make sure that the foundation is in place. So there must be prerequisite, the requirement to be able to make sure that is in use. So there must be positive attitude towards the team building program. Of course, it's all about the mind. It is what it is within an individual that creates the works of what is outward. So there must be positive attitude. When there's no positive attitude within the group members, then definitely there will be no goal. So the use of force on members to participate in the team building program must at all costs be avoided, because it demands willing change in attitudes and behaviors that will allow them adapt to the leadership style. This is why I say it is not about being bossy. It is about the leadership lifestyle. It is not about compelling, forceful submission of team members. No, you need to give them some level of level of ownership. Yes, at this point in time, this will enable them to communicate and to be able to come about solution. It is just like creating an interactive engagement among the team members. Of course, any leader that is not engaging interaction will not go anywhere, and there will be no change that we want. So when we talk about the utility of the team building, since team building is a continuous process that there must be a tool that must be analyzed before team building programs is implemented. Definitely, there must be team building, things that you need to analyze before team building program can be so effective. You need to look at the organization's need. Particularly, you need to look at that employee's need and along with potential benefits of team building technology. So when you are building in this current time, technology is there. You must be able to leverage the use of technology to be able to get this result. So when you're trying to push technology aside and you're trying to look at the aspect of leading people, then you will not be relevant. Then because technology plays a very big role. You know, it has a positive impact on making sure that we have a lot of goals to achieve. So you need to look at the organization needs, the organization's need. What does the organization need? What really do they need? You know, and that will enable you to get the goal. Then that individual also need. As long as the organization moves forward, that individual should be able to move forward also. There must be personal development within that individual. So this is when, this is the beauty of this team building aspect. It will enable potential of team building technology as well. So be able to use this modern day technology to be able to come about this change as a change agent. So before any team building program is set up, there must be purpose of implementation. You must have a purpose, actually. You must really have a purpose. If you want to create something new and you don't have a purpose, what can give you the direction, really? And since there's no direction, there cannot be a goal, actually. So it is just like being lost in the middle. You will not really have anything tangible to offer. So there must be specific program objectives. You must have a program objective and the cost and benefit analysis. Before you dive into this, you need to look at the cost. It is not easy. Team building, bringing people together, particularly to train people, to invite them to your cultures and values, and organization modus operandi, in the mode of operation. Then you must be able to look at the cost benefit analysis, because it is not a small job to be done. So sadly, most organizations today, they don't want to look at it from the aspect of being a process. They want to just they want to compel workers or maybe the group members to bring out change when you are not training them. It is not possible. You must first train those workers, or particularly the group members, before you can say you want them to meet up with the goal that you want. So on the concluding aspect of the team building aspect, we must look at it as an intervention. It's an intervention that creates and that enables development, all-round development in all ramifications. You see, when we talk about the team building, its methodology provides data for diagnosis and unfreezing, incorporates experiential learning, and provides a means for refreezing more effective behavior. So this team building aspect provides a means to satisfy an employee's need as well as organizational need. It is, in all ramifications, it helps not just the individual improvement, but also the organization improvement as a whole. So it is a win-win for both the organization and as well the individual. So this intervention enables teamwork, which is necessary in order to derive the best strategy. An individual that relies on his or her own intelligence alone or knowledge alone cannot go far. You need team around you, you need collaboration towards the final goal. So, however, team building should not be used as a one-shot. If you stop building your team, then before you open your eyes, before you come to your realization, you discover that you are still living in the 1900s when the world is in 2023. So it is a constant process that needs to be done. So it involves managerial commitment and also organizational philosophy. It needs to be seen as an organization culture. It needs to be seen as a philosophy of that organization, that from time to time, we need to engage the team members, the organization, to brainstorm, to have a roundtable talk so that they can have maximum effectiveness, both for organization and also for an individual, and particularly a group effectiveness and productivity, and for business aspect also for profit and to have a larger sale. So I would stop sharing now. The team building aspect is a very fantastic approach for both individual and organization all-rounder. So thank you to the IIU team for this wonderful session, for giving me the opportunity to be able to share my knowledge in this subject matter. Team building, every problem that you want, you need to engage, you need to seek expert judgment so that you can come about the best approach that you want. It will also strengthen your interpersonal relationship. It also equip you with what is called the vitality skill. So It is a very wonderful approach. Thank you very much to the team and everyone for listening to this session.